Now moving on to the MiniGP70 category. Race 3 for these youngsters. Joshua Whatley, Callum Beach and Harvey Claridge have been the fastest three all weekend, but Beach missed out last time around with a fall. The closer races so far have been for 4th to 8th positions, and we'll see if that trend continues in the third race of the afternoon in this category. Riders on their warm-up lap, and so far it's been faultless weekend for Joshua Whatley, who was over half a second quicker in qualifying than Callum Beach, who'll start alongside him on the front row of the grid for this third and final race of the weekend in the MiniGP70 category. Whatley unbeaten then from 2 appearances. Callum Beach had a DQ to his name from his second appearance after a fall that caused a red flag stoppage. And of course the declaration of the result as it was at the time of the stoppage, with Callum Beach effectively ruled out of the point standing. So he's got a lot of work to do in championship terms against Joshua Whatley, who's already stolen a march with a 30-point advantage, but starting alongside him on the grid here on the front row. So it's Whatley and Beach on row 1. Row 2 is with Harvey Claridge, a podium finisher in each of the 2 races so far on the number 16 bike. And then we talk about that battle that I mentioned for 4th to 8th positions. P4 on the grid, Brodie Crockford, a 5th and 6th place finish so far. Jeremy Knight, who grabbed that last step on the podium last time out in race 2 after Callum Beach's drama. He sits effectively in 3rd in the championship, but with Callum Beach having outperformed him so far, and we'd expect him to be among the front runners in that race for 4th position. As we watch for the lights then and prepare to get underway. Watch then for Jeremy Knight, who I've talked about from the 3rd row of the grid. He has made a good start, good enough to move through into 5th place. Joshua Whatley making a fast start once again, Callum Beach in tow. Claridge and Crockford, and then it's Knight who's managed to lead away Jay Abel from the 3rd row of the grid. We expect the midfield squabbles to be the closest here because, as I said previously, Joshua Whatley was faster than Callum Beach, both through qualifying and in the opening 2 races of the day. Whatley, the class of the field in this MiniGP70 category so far here today. Look at that advantage out in front. That's absolutely astonishing, the gap even as early as lap number 1. Good race on though for 2nd position, and a separate race at the moment for 4th. A big thunderous move down the inside into Raymond's. That came from absolutely nowhere, but not quite able to get that move done. Harvey Claridge is relegated back down into 3rd position again. He came from way back into Raymond's, down the inside of Callum Beach. Beach then cut back up the inside coming off the turn, carried his momentum away and down the home straight and back past down towards the hook. So Beach restoring himself to 2nd position. Harvey Claridge relegated to 3rd place. It's Whatley out in front. He's pulled out almost a 2-second advantage on lap number 1. Joshua Whatley on the number 70 bike, the comfortable race leader, ahead of Callum Beach in 2nd. That's where the closest race is at the moment after Harvey Claridge's excellent effort down the inside into Raymond's last lap around. Can he perform something similar? He's got the momentum coming off the Dell. Will he look to the inside again? He's not quite close enough this time around. He's going to try and build it up around the outside. Separate race for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions. And we're going to have a change of position for 7th, as up the inside comes Oscar Pinson to make the overtake manoeuvre on Louis Rendell, who's now relegated down to 8th. So it's Whatley, Beach, Claridge, Knight, but the main change on that last lap around was Oscar Pinson getting the better of Louis Rendell down the inside into Raymond's. There's a group of 5 riders running in a pack here. Crockford and Abel on the tail of Jeremy Knight, all within a second of 4th position. And then Oscar Pinson, who's trying to gain back ground on that mid-pack group, having got the better of Louis Rendell. Still a race on for 2nd position. And a separate race for 4th. Jeremy Knight at the moment holding on. That's Brodie Crockford right in behind in P5. Again, no change for 2nd place. Claridge just feeling his way onto the tail of Callum Beach. Crockford thinking about a move on Jeremy Knight, but not able to do anything about that. And Jay Abel is right on their tail now. Every rider in the field set a new personal best on lap 3, so they've stepped it up from lap 2 to lap 3. And this group of 5 riders is where the majority of the position changes look set to occur, with Joshua Whatley setting a new fastest lap of the race, almost 2 seconds faster than Callum Beach's time in 2nd position, which he himself notched a new personal best. Beach and Claridge nice and close in second and third places, but there's been no real change in the status of that battle. It's the tussle for fourth, fifth and sixth positions at the moment that's the most enticing, as the inside run is with Brodie Crockford. He's got the advantage coming off the Dell. He looks to the inside into Raymond's. He can't get the move done. That's killed his momentum. Jay Abel has now got the speed coming off Raymond's. The three of them are nose to tail as they come back down to turn one, and moving to block, it's Brodie Crockford holding on ahead of Jay Abel, and Crockford again having to run right around the outside then of the hook to hold on to that fifth position. It's Jeremy Knight, Brodie Crockford and Jay Abel all setting new personal best last lap around as they try and keep with one another's pace and see if they can't do anything about the group ahead. But at the moment there's a massive gap between third and fourth positions, and then after that it's that group that I talked about before we even got underway with this race as being the potential fight. It's a five-way tussle over fourth position. It's still Jeremy Knight leading them, but it's Jay Abel who has managed to leapfrog Brodie Crockford and up into fifth position. Abel then looking down the inside in the challenge for fourth, can't get there. Jeremy Knight holds on, but it's Abel who's made the progress on that last lap, and he's swerving around on the tail of Jeremy Knight. He sees blood here. He has a real opportunity to take fourth position from Jeremy Knight, who was holding back Brodie Crockford, who's now holding back Jay Abel, but it might not be for much longer. Abel diving down the inside, can't quite make the move stick. It's nice and close between those two, between Jeremy Knight in fourth position, Jay Abel in fifth. Brodie Crockford was the one to lose out in all of that squabbling further down the order. No change in the race for second position, still 0.2 of a second between Callum Beach and Harvey Claridge, who are over 8 seconds now behind Joshua Watley up in front, and Jay Abel has made that overtaking manoeuvre. So dropping back is Jeremy Knight, and Brodie Crockford has also managed to find a way through by the looks of it. So Crockford's up ahead of Abel, or ahead of Knight rather, who's dropped 2 positions and may even drop another here as through, well, the riders are all firing their way through now. It's Abel who's come up to fourth, it's Crockford who's come up to fifth, Knight dropping 2 positions in one lap. Abel and Crockford have the pace advantage. There isn't even time to take a breath here in race 3 of the MiniGP70s. Joshua Watley almost 10 seconds clear of Callum Beach and Harvey Claridge. Claridge gaining ground last lap around on lap number 6. He's within 0.2 of a second now of the race for second position. Beach versus Claridge. Fourth and fifth positions have steadied themselves out here. Looking at the race for second place, and Claridge went for a lunge once again down into Raymond's. Charged through up the inside. Beach repaid the compliment. So more overtaking in second and third positions. We're with the battle for the middle order places. Abel, Crockford are fighting over fourth position. Knight, Rendell and now Pinson joining the back of the group in 8th place. Really entertaining midfield scrap. There's only 10 riders in this class, but you wouldn't believe it because that's how many of them are fighting over real positions. Watley's well clear, another new fastest lap of the race with a 48.8 last time around, again almost 2 seconds faster than Callum Beach. He just passes race control for the race lead. And talking about passing, here we have the battle for second position, not quite close enough this time around. Harvey Claridge made the inside lunge a lap ago, but wasn't close enough to try it again on Callum Beach on lap number 8. So still around about that 0.2 of a second mark between the two of them. The battle behind, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, that's spreading out a little bit, but it's Brodie Crockford who's making the progress on the tail of Jay Abel, waiting for an opportunity to try and make that pass. Those two have been dicing for position right the way through. We've got battles right the way to the back of the field with Felix Hearn and Luke Coggins, who were almost line abreast coming into Raymond's last time around. That's for 9th position and the penultimate spot in the race results. But it's Watley leading the way. Second with Callum Beach. Harvey Claridge is trying to go for the inside here. Coming onto the hanger straight, he's got the better run. Can Claridge make a move stick here on Callum Beach? The race for second, he hasn't got quite enough to get alongside. He's going to go wider into Raymond's, make the turn back up the inside of the hairpin. The two almost run level over the start-finish straight, but it narrows down into the first turn, and that's one of the toughest places to make a pass on the entrance to the hook, and having to back out of it. Harvey Claridge still waiting for an opportunity, but that lap around, he was less than 1/10 of a second behind Callum Beach, who sits in second. Watley, Beach, Claridge. Then 10 seconds further down the road, Jay Abel is only just holding off Brodie Crockford in the battle for 4th position. they're running about a second a lap off the pace of Callum Beech and Harvey Claridge in second and third positions. Beech leading Claridge, who's dropped back on this lap, so there's no opportunity for him to make a pass on this one. Lap number 10, and time is ticking away, and it looks as though actually second position is settled. How about fourth position with Jay Abel? Well, Abel seems to have lost out, actually. Crockford's made his way through. So the number 55 bike has got the better of the 303 Jay Abel down the bottom end of the circuit. Jeremy Knight is now right on the tail of Jay Abel. So it was Abel who was making the progress earlier on, as down the inside comes Louis Rendell to take sixth position away. And now they're side by side all the way through the hook, but reclaiming the position at Jeremy Knight. So by sticking to the outside line into turn one, he then had the inside on the hook. So although Rendell had made the position, he wasn't able to hold on to it. But we've got some frantic struggles right the way through, from fourth to seventh positions at the moment. And, well, right the way from second and third as well, who are enjoying their own battle. In fact, Callum Beech and Harvey Claridge closing up again as we're into the final lap. And opportunities are running out for position changes here. Whatley leading the way. Beech and Claridge over the line, with Claridge setting a new personal best and gaining almost, well, 0.8 of a second on Callum Beech, who sits second, and less than 0.2 of a second between them. What a race this is turning out to be for second. As they work their way through the back markers, Callum Beech making his way through. 20 seconds clear. It's been another dominant display. He's going to make it 3 wins out of 3, but in the race for second, it'll be Callum Beech who will take it, surely, ahead of Harvey Claridge. They're still almost nose to tail as they come onto the hanger straight for the final time in the race for second. Callum Beech holding on. Harvey Claridge not within striking distance, about 4 or 5 lengths back. He's going to go for the cutback, coming off the final turn for the final time. Drag race down to the line, almost side by side, but Callum Beech holds on. And Harvey Claridge, despite setting his personal best on the final lap, and despite getting the momentum coming off the final turn, can't quite make the move. And there's further position changes as Jay Abel loses out to Jeremy Knight, but then in the drag race to the line gets it back as well. So 2 brilliant passes on the final 2 turns, but both coming to nothing, with perfect cutbacks changing the positions back to the order they were before, with Whatley taking the checkered flag. Callum Beech repaying the compliments on Harvey Claridge after some excellent racing between the two of them as the race went on. Brodie Crockford taking 4th position. Jay Abel held that position for a while, dropped back, recovered the position again. There was so much entertainment from positions 4 to 8, as I suggested there would before we got underway. And rounding out the top 5 in the final race in this category this weekend, Brodie Crockford and Jay Abel.
Coming up after the break, more pit bike action. It's Pit Bike Open this time with the rising star in motorcycle racing, Charlie Nesbitt. He's back.